Spider-Man!
Spider-Man is a fictional comic book superhero co-created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and published by Marvel Comics. Debuting in the early 1960s as part of the revival of the superhero genre in comic book, it stars a brilliant young teenager nerd by the name of Peter Parker who gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. Since then, it has spawned several different comic book series, cartoons, several feature films, and of course, video games.
And the game we're looking at today is Spider-Man for the Sony PlayStation, otherwise known as Spider-Man 2000.
Spider-Man is an action-adventure game developed by Neversoft and published by Activision. It marked a new beginning of Spider-Man games that various games to come after will follow its standard several years later. It of course stars the amazing Spider-Man as he goes through New York City saving banks, stopping his rogue gallery, going through sewers and warehouses to find out the mastermind behind the sinister plot taking place in his hometown.
So without further ado, let's dive into Spider-Man.
The game starts off with a reformed Doc Ock talking signs when all of a sudden an imposter Spider-Man appears.
Last time I checked, I was Spider-Man.
Well, either you've gone completely insane, or you're being framed, bro!
This sets up for the starting stages of the game, but let's talk about this one session with us trying to hide who the main villain is. Anyone who knows anything about Spider-Man or can recognize simple voice patterns can tell that's Doc Ock. Who are you kidding? Anyway, let's look at the gameplay. The overall gameplay is solid. Everything is here. You can web swing from building to building, stick to walls, use your weapon as attack, or simply fight with your fists and feet. There's a spider sense to warn you of incoming danger, and you can jump and press either the punch or kick button to do an attack from the mid-air. Levels are divided into sections with a comic book cover attached to it. Some levels you have to hurry to catch up to a bad guy, and some of the boss fights have specific ways to defeat the boss easier than it would be just punching and kicking them. Enemies range from common foes to frickin' lizards. I'm having bad flashbacks to the Amazing Spider-Man plot, and symbiote. Bosses that are in the game include Scorpion, Rhino, Venom, Mysterio, Doc Ock, and Carnage. Though at the end you have to flee from the Doc Ock/Carnage combo that was created just for the game, and man that stays intense. Every time you accidentally stick to a wall or slow down, there's a fear of that monster catching up to you. There's also an appearance by the Lizard in the game, but he's not a boss fight. In between so many stages there are cutscenes with slightly better graphics than the in-game graphics that tells the story even further.
If Halloween Boy shows up, he's one dead bug.
You see? He said Halloween Boy. It's a Halloween episode.
There are several cameos in the game from different heroes splattered throughout the Marvel Universe, and of course the narrator is none other than Stan Lee himself. Other cameos include Daredevil, the Human Toast, the Punisher, and Captain America. Black Cat is also in the game and assists Spider-Man to a point in some of the stages. The story is pretty simple. Doc Ock and Carnage are seeking to use the symbiotes to invade New York City and take it over, and it's up to our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to stop them. The game tries to make the mastermind of the plot a secret, but it fails flat on its face as anyone can guess who the main villain is before they're finally revealed. Also, there are some parts that are just stupid, like this.
Jonah, I have shot to the bank robbery.
Parker, shut up and dial 911. Scorpion's here, and you have to...
Why don't you call the police? You just happen to call the one person in New York City who happens to be Spider-Man? That's pretty frickin' lucky.
You wang.
Oi.
The graphics are pretty good too for a Sony PlayStation game. The character designs are good and you can tell who everybody else and what their purpose is. They also brought back several different voice actors of Spider-Man Unlimited and Spider-Man the Animated Series to reprise their roles, but the game takes place more in the comic book continuity than any of the cartoons. Before you jump into the game, you can do some training levels to get used to the game's controls. You can also unlock different comic books and costumes, such as the symbiote costume or the Scarlet Spider costume. Some costumes have special powers like the symbiote costume have an unlimited weapon. Personally, one of my favorite Spider-Man costumes is the Scarlet Spider costume, which you can unlock after beating the game on easy mode. Playing as the Scarlet Spider is a nice treat for beating the game the first time and gives a little replayability to fans to play the game over again in a new costume. The game isn't that long overall, but some of the stages, challenges, figuring out the patterns for the boss battles and overall enjoyment level more than makes up for it. And you're not limited to playing the game on just PlayStation. You can also play it on Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, and Microsoft Windows. There's even a Game Boy Color version of the game as well. Overall, Spider-Man is a fun action game that has a lot of references and cameos to the Spider-Man comics and overall Marvel Universe, and it's enjoyable to tackle on for any major Spider-Man, Marvel, or superhero fan that adds to their collection. Nothing more to say, but get it.
That's it for this edition of TJ Reviews. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.